Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. We're so glad that you're with us today to stay curious. Today's September 5th, 2024, and we're going to talk about some human space flights that are on the verge of happening, like Polaris Dawn tomorrow, this evening, and what that's going to be about. Hopefully, get up there. How many people are in space right now? How long have they been up there? And a log jam about to happen up there at the International Space Station. So stay tuned for all that. Marty, I left some notes in the bin over there. That sorry about that. Uh, but Marty Winkel, my co-producer here for 4 years on Stay Curious, couldn't do it without him. We've had a lot of fun over the years, Marty, and um, we're glad that it pays off with a great loyal group of intelligent space geeks out there that love our brand of space history. Let's take care of some business as we've got an auction that's going on Saturday. These auctions help support the American Space Museum. We're not selling any of the collection. These are either consigned items or items that come in and we're not going to use in our displays. We have multiples of and that sort of thing. So a lot of things get filtered to our collections manager and he decides what's going on with it. And then some of it appears on the auctions or even our eBay. And we don't talk enough about our eBay, and we will start next week. We got over 30 items up on the American Space Museum eBay page there. So let me show you my bald spot as I go down here to get my glasses. But these auctions are important. This is a great auction. 360 items that Chuck Jeffrey of Bid Again Auctions has put together. You can go on now on our website. Please check it out through our American Space Museum website. There's a link there, or on Facebook. Here are two Fred Hayes autographed items that you just would love to have in your man cave, particularly that Saturn V, Marty. Like that a lot. And you don't see many of the visor shot. The Apollo 11 most famous photograph taken in the history of photography, quite possibly. Buzz Aldrin there with Neil Armstrong and the lunar module Eagle LM number 5 in the Grumman who built it terminology. That could go for $2,000, folks. And you bid till it hurts, and you might win. And at noon Saturday, the gavel falls. So we'll talk a lot about that tomorrow on Stay Curious and show you some other lots up there. There's some jewelry, some artwork, and we'll review that before the auction tomorrow. Well, it was 1977, all right, that this spacecraft, though this rocket, a Titan 3E, launched from Cape Canaveral Complex 41 with a spacecraft that was going to go beyond the solar system eventually. And that's Voyager 1. It is now 15 billion miles away, 4 times the distance of the planet Pluto. 47 years later, it still phones home. At 15 billion miles away, that takes, how long does it take, Mark? It takes 22 hours, almost a full day, to get one radio signal across our solar system. Of course, Voyager 1 went by Jupiter and Saturn. Its twin continued on. Voyager 2 went by Uranus and Neptune and shows the only pictures of that. And is now in an area between the Kuiper Belt, a rocky area of frozen debris and large size uh, dwarf planets like Pluto. And it's approaching an area called the Oort cloud. And the Oort cloud is just theorized that it is a place where billions of comets are from the birth of our solar system and how the heat internally pushed out and pushed everything out. This is where stars pass by. In fact, A Centaurus and the other are actually stars on this scale. And so there you see Voyager 1. It is way far away and still working. And it has on it this incredible calling card from Earth that has all kinds of decipherable things on there about the human species and how smart we are. and on the other side is a grooved record that has like Wolfgang Mozart on it, Blind Willie Johnson, Chuck Berry, and Sounds of Earth, including whales and babies crying, and statements from all the leaders of the world. So that is the actual where it's affixed to it on the Voyager spacecraft. So hopefully some intelligent creature will grab that, throw it across their park like a frisbee, and then figure out, wait a minute, this is from an intelligent, somewhat intelligent civilization far, far away. So let me go down here and push my American Space Museum Marty, see if we can get some questions from our friends. If you see it there, please do. Voyager 2, Voyager 1, and then Voyager 2, by the way, it's identical, was launched earlier, August 20th, 1977. So there is a shot of that our good friend Carlton Bailey took of a Falcon 9 rocket, taking some of those Starlink satellites to space. This is not the one that launched today, but I want to say hello to William Whiting. He's watching today. He says hello to my curious friends. Dean Babcock's watching. Dave Stange, happy Thursday to you, Dave. Robert Law's up in Dundee, Scotland. And Carlton Bailey's saying hello to Marty and all the museum minions. Looking forward to another great show. And thank you, Carlton. And hi all from Tom Celentano. So thank you, Tom. And he'll be participating in the auction, I believe, as many of you probably will. Well, SpaceX launched another group of Starlink satellites, and about 3:38 tonight, after midnight, the Polaris Dawn will hopefully launch. It's about the weather is pretty good, I think, on it, though the 45th Space Wing didn't have a report on it, Carlton. But this was from Space Flight Now, the 15th flight of this particular Falcon 9 booster, the 370th Falcon 9 launch to date, and that dates back to just 4 years ago. The 85th Falcon 9 launch of 2024, counting Vandenberg. This is the 313th time that a Falcon 9 booster has been reflown. And let me make that smaller. 88th launch of 2024 for SpaceX overall, counting even the Starship, and the 120th orbital launch in the last 365 days. I love that stat, Marty. 120 SpaceX orbital launches in 1 year. That means one every 3 days. All right, 3 times 120 is 360. Wow, what a pace this company is keeping up with hardware, keeping the supply chain in line, from the fuel to all the necessary parts to keep it up there. Let alone they've got 3 reusable spacecraft that have been flown each at least twice, human spacecraft, and those Crew Dragons also. So kudos to SpaceX. Without a doubt, they have brought the Space Coast back in with a roar the last 3 years. So thank you for letting me share your photo there. Look at that beautiful aerial shot. You don't get a good clear day like that, CB says, to get that nice light. I think that was a morning launch there, and all those stats there. So thank you, Spaceflight Now, for letting me share your stats there. We are going to talk about the wonderful shuttle program. You know, every month we love to talk about the shuttles of the month of September. There are, in fact, 11 shuttles launched in the month of September, 105 days in space. But interestingly enough, Challenger nor Columbia orbiters were flown in the month of September. 4 for Discovery, 4 for Atlantis, and 3 for Endeavour. And we're going to detail the first 2 of the months, 69 and 106. And we'll get down to the basics of that here in just a little bit. So, and of course, you know, I'm going to talk about the artwork of the patches, because we love putting the A in STEAM education for arts, astronomy, aerospace, agriculture, astrobiology. All kinds of A's fit in that STEAM for education. Here's what it looks like if in an artist's concept of what who's parked at the International Space Station. Well, there you see the Crew Dragon at the top, Starliner. We'll talk about that in a minute. It won't be there Saturday, supposedly. Cygnus 21 is Northrop Grumman's supply ship. Soyuz M25 there at the bottom is the crude ship that took up um, Tracy Dyson. All right, and two other cosmonauts that came back, and then there's two other cosmonauts up there with Tracy that are going to come back sometime in September. You got another cargo ship of Russia parked to their segments. That's the Russian side of it, obviously, over there. Some of the older modules of our International Space Station. And then Progress 88. So you got three cargo ships and three crewed spaceships there. And they'll be bringing 88 down probably in the next 2 weeks and making room for the new launch next week. I don't know where this is going to fit, quite frankly. I think they'll have to get rid of Progress 88 and have the next Soyuz crewed launch is going to happen September 11th, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is the configuration there. Now we want to launch Crew Dragon 9 with just 2 astronauts instead of 4, and that will obviously dock where the Starliner is. Hello to what? Tom Celentano says other sources are saying Polaris Dawn is now aiming for September 9th. Really? We're expecting it to launch tonight, right, Marty?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, breaking news maybe from Tom. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's hard to get up at 3:38 in the morning or stay up for anybody. Hello, you to Steve Jokums. Happy Thursday from the Lake County Spaceport. Look that up on eBay or Facebook, and he'll sell you some nice decals for your space shuttle models. And hello, Doug Forrest in California, there, the Los Angeles area. We appreciate everybody chiming in today. I think you'll be interested in some of the human aspects that I'm going to give us here. If Polaris Dawn is launched tonight and MS-26 is launched Wednesday, September 6th, Polaris Dawn is staying up 5 days. All right, it is an automatic kind of a mission. There's no leeway on anything. They can't keep them up 6 days because they don't have food for that extra day. I mean, they would stretch it, but that's why they're stuck at this 3:38 in the morning, because that sets the time clock for everything for 5 days later landing on the coast of Florida. So, but if it all goes well tonight and on September 11th, they could cross where we would have 19 humans in space on September 11th. Orbiting the Earth. 17 is the record from May 2023. All right. And I love this meme, of course. You all know I do. 617 humans have orbited the Earth since 1961, or as the voice of NASA, Hugh Harris, used to say, all eternity. And 77 of them have been women. We thought by now Polaris Dawn would have gone up and added 3 new humans, because there's 3 rookies there in that picture, the 2 women and the man on the far right. Jared Isaacman, of course, did the St. Jude's private mission 2 years ago. So who else do we have up there? Crew 8. We have 9 humans on the International Space Station. All right, you've got the 4 of Crew Dragon 8. And let's talk about them in succession here. Well, let's first talk about the Chinese, because that's the Chinese over there in the lower right. They have been up for 134 days on their mission. This is the 4th crew rotation on this space station, the Heavenly Palace, Tiangong. They will be coming back in October when the crew will be, Shenzhou 19 will be launched to go up there with a crew of 6. Actually, Shenzhou 19 is to be launched in November to swap them out. So they're going to get October, November. They're going to get another 60 days up there, about 190 days for these. 2 of them are rookies, but the one on the far right, Yi Gongfu, he's got 316 days in space today on his 3rd mission. He was the 2nd Chinese astronaut to go to space. Then we're going to get to let's talk about Yeah, let's talk about Michael Barrett there. On the far left is Matthew Dominic, right over my shoulder. Matthew Dominic, Jeanette Epps, and Alexander Gremkin are rookies, and they're now spending their 186th day in space on Crew 8. All right, almost 6 solid months now they've been up there. Michael Barrett, there with his hands folded, is spent his 65th birthday up in space, but he's soon to be joined by another senior citizen. All right, and that's the guy on the far right on the Soyuz 26. Um, oh gosh, I forgot. I just had a brain moment there, but I've got it written down here. Have no fear. All right, he's one of the most popular astronauts up there. Uh, and I usually rattle his name off the tip of my tongue all the time. And I'm going to say Don Pettit. Yeah, Don Pettit. Don Pettit will be taking his 4th space flight to space. And we'll be talking about Don once he gets up there with the next Expedition Crew 73, it'll be, as he did all kinds of fun stuff on the space station. Michael Barrett, 65. Don Pettit is 69 years old. He will spend his 70th birthday in April as part of Expedition 73. So we'll have fun talking about that. So the Crew Dragon 8 has been up there for 186 days, 6 full months. All right. And then we get to Sonny and Butch. Sonny and Butch, experienced astronauts, both have been on the space station, but it's been over 10 years ago. They are spending their 93rd day in space on the Starliner. Their 8 days turned into so far 93. All right. And if they go to February and come back in mid-February, they will have spent around 240 days in space on an 8-day ticket. And that would give Suni over she's right now, Sonny's got 414 days in space, and Butch has got 271. And just think of them, their families are going to be missing the holidays. They didn't expect that. Who knows what anniversaries, birthdays, and so forth they're missing. Totally unexpected. And as we've talked about on the program, there's some astronauts that think at first they may have been kind of pissed off about it. I didn't sign up for this, and I don't know anything about the Crew Dragon. I don't know anything about the Crew Dragon space suit. So here's what's going to happen, folks. Oh, we've got to get to the other group up there on the space station. As we've got 12 in space right now, anticipating maybe 19 on Wednesday, but that could be iffy. But if they launch the 9th, like Tom Celentano's saying now is a breaking news, and the 11th, we will break the record of 17. So Tracy Caldwell Dyson there in the middle. You've seen her on the NASA channel. She does Station Life. She's just an effervescent, bubbly gal. She's a lead singer for the all astronaut rock group called Maximum Q. And then on the other side of her, on the left, is the most experienced astronaut in the history of all mankind, Oleg Konyenko. He is now spending his 1,093rd day in space. All right. Marty, he's about as many days in space as we've had episodes. We're on our 1,115th or something like that episode. That's kind of nice coincidence. Took us 4 years to do that, and he's had 5 missions over like 10 years. And then Nikolai Chubb over there, he's got 357 days total. Their whole Tracy's been up there 166 days now on the this mission. So, and she also has about almost a year in space accumulated, 365 days. I like those stats. Hope that you all do. So here's what's going to happen. Starliner on Wednesday. Program manager Steve Stitch said that Friday around 6:04 p.m. tomorrow, Friday Eastern Daylight Time, Starliner will undock from the station's Harmony module, and after a 6-hour journey around the Earth and then through the atmosphere. It will land at White Sands Space Harbor in New Mexico at 12:03 a.m. on Saturday, September 7th. Too bad we can't watch that on TV, on NASA TV. You know, they pulled the plug on NASA TV, Marty. You have to watch it as an app or online. They took it off your Spectrum and all the other outlets out there. Did you know that, Marty?
No, I did not.
Yeah. Uh, well, while Starliner will not bring home its crew, it will be returning empty-handed. It won't be returning empty-handed, as if it doesn't burn up in the atmosphere, as it will return rechargeable oxygen tanks, other materials, and the Starliner spacesuits, Marty, of Butch and Sonny. I don't know if I want to give up my spacesuit. Do you? I might need it if there's a leak on the ISS. Well, they say that that the cargo ship took up a SpaceX spacesuit for Butch, and that one up there in reserve on the ISS. There's apparently one up there in reserve, and that one fits Sonny. But I don't know about that. So they do have two spacesuits up there apparently used. So that's what's going to happen, folks. Friday, 6 o'clock, over your evening cocktail up there at about 10 o'clock there, Robert Law in Dundee, Scotland. He'll be watching it, I know, and recording it on his VHS tape up there probably. Hello, Tom Usiak. Always great to see you. Well, let's see. What else have I'm going to ramble on about today? The Polaris. We've been talking about the Polaris mission there. I found this beautiful picture of the crew. Okay. You've got Jared Isaacman. Let me go back there. Go back. Jared Isaacman. Menon. Pardon me for not remembering her first name. And she and Sarah Gillis are employees of SpaceX. And they designed the spacesuits that they're going to, all four of them, be exposed to space during a spacewalk on the fourth day. Let me get the scenario for that, how that's supposed to lay out. Let's see here. Yeah, we're about to get a pretty cool logjam up there. Polaris Dawn, Scott Poteet, Sarah Gillis, Anna Menon. There's their beautiful pictures right there. Yeah. All right. Make them big there, Marty. I believe that's Sarah, the brunette there. She's going to do a spacewalk. Jared Isaacman, of course, the billionaire that went to space. He's ordered two other Crew Dragons to fly. What they're supposed to do is during the first hour, the crew will conduct checks of the Dragon capsule. If they find no issues, then within the first 2 hours of orbiting Earth, they're going to fire those Draco thrusters on the Crew Dragon and propel them up to 870 miles above the Earth, the highest orbit of the planet ever flown by a crewed spacecraft, breaking the record set by Gemini 11 in 1966. And the farthest anyone's been since the Apollo program. Of course, the two women will be the two women that have gone the farthest in space. Now, on day 2, they're going to lower that orbit to about a 475-mile orbit, from 870 down to maybe 200 and then back up. And they're going to do about 10 hours of orbits at that. And then they're going to lower it to 470. And then on the Flight Day 3 is dedicated to the first ever extravehicular activity of the commercial space flight. They will don their EVA suits, and all 4 of them will be exposed. This will break the record for the most people in the vacuum of space at once, set during the Apollo 15 Al Worden EVA, when they had to open the hatch on Apollo 15 for Al to go out and retrieve the film on the cameras that were on the command module, scientific bay. And of course, Apollo 16 and 17 repeated that. Due to the unique depressurization protocol, the crew plans to conduct research on decompression sickness and spaceflight associated neuroocular syndrome, called SANS. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of information harvested out of this mission fingers crossed. This is dangerous. Of course, the spacesuits, I'm sure, have been tested in pressure chambers somewhere in America, we would hope. And so they're not like going into this blind. So there's what artists think that spacewalk will look like. Jared's supposed to go out there for 10, 15 minutes, and then Sarah's supposed to do the same thing. They're attached on an umbilical. They've not talked about any propulsion hand devices to move them around. I do believe there is a handrail attachment that they're going to put out, like a ladder. I've not seen pictures of this, and there's very little information about this. So, or I'm just not looking in the right places. So, good luck to you, folks. We really look forward to this. They will be further away from Earth than the Hubble telescope, the International Space Station, and in the Van Allen belt is part of this mission. Yes, Marty, got a comment there?
Yeah, Tom Celentano was saying Ben Cooper's launch photography page says Polaris Dawn is TBD.
Okay.
And I just went online. I didn't see anything about it TBD.
Right. Well, I'll do some little research here on the fly too, Tom. I am finding that the usually reliable launch websites are really they got to hedge their bets on this for some reason. It's hard to find information about it. So let me go to one of my reliable places. So where am I going? To you is, let's see here. On my app, there's an app for that. I'm going to go like this, Marty. Get the image out and go, make me big. Make me big there. One of the apps that I like that in fact, I got turned on to by Connie McDaniel, who's probably watching. Hi, Connie, is Space Monkey. Got a little monkey there, and I just hit it to come up there. And my mobile app says Starlink Group Satellite Success, Polaris Dawn, Monday, September 9th, 3:38 a.m. I can sleep in tonight, all right? I'm going to stay up after the football game. Who likes football? I do. Okay. Yeah, we got pro football tonight, and the Ravens and the Chiefs, and then bingo. We got 6 months of football, including college. So thank you, Tom Celentano. They've now pushed it back to Monday, September 9th, 3:38 a.m. Hey, this may come to fruition, 19 people in space. Am I a psychic or what, Marty?
September 7th.
Huh?
September 7th, not 9th. He said September 9th. It's September 7th.
They're saying September 9th on Launch Monkey. I'm pulled up the app right here. It says Polaris Dawn September 9th right there, which is Sunday night, September 8th to the 9th at 3:38. Yeah, so scramble for that. It's hard to keep up on. We've been talking about it for 3 weeks, and we want to get them up there. Dave Stange asks, and Tom Celentano, Space Flight Now, says no earlier than 9/7. Thank you, Marty. That's where you're getting that. Okay, Steve Joachim says it was updated. Well, I've just got on Launch Monkey the 9th, so we know it's not going tonight. That's the main thing. Dave Stange, hello, friend. When Starliner leaves, where will the 2 astronauts go if they need to vacate the ISS in case of an emergency? Well, they go into the Dragon. They got room in the Crew Dragon there, and actually, apparently, maybe put 2 extra seats in there in the Crew Dragon 8. There's no room in the Soyuz, that's for sure, but there is room in the Crew Dragon. So that would be the case there. Good question there, Dave. Now, where we're going next on Stay Curious with all that breaking news. Oh, isn't that a gorgeous picture? That's what Crew Dragon 8 looks there. That's Endeavour. I think it's the 3rd flight of Endeavour. Hadn't seen many pictures of it docked there. All right, looking pretty cool. Kind of thought you might choose that one, Marty, for a green screen. Yeah, too narrow. There's two Russians that are very experienced, with Don Pettit very experienced. They're going to launch no earlier than September 11th at 7:32 p.m. Moscow time. We know they'll do that. Talking to Mike Baker, who flew twice to the Mir space station and was over the astronauts at the Cosmodrome and Baikonur. He said when they set a time, raining, snowing, they go. So Wednesday night they'll be launched. That's Moscow time. They're due to stay up there for 6 months. Their spacecraft will remain docked with the orbiting outpost until about April 1st. If they do, Pettit's birthday is actually, when is Don? He was born April 20th, 420. All right. And he is 69 years old, so he'll almost be 70 if that's on time. He's already spent 370 days in space. One of our most experienced astronauts on Expedition 6, Expedition 30, and Expedition, he will join his third expedition is 72. And Don invented the Zero-G Cup. He had a fun time playing Angry Birds in space. You can see the look on his face there. He's the consummate astronaut. My God, wanting to go to space at age 70, Marty? That's something else, I think. All right. I just wanted to give a little schematic of the Soyuz spacecraft. Very cramped. All right. 3 distinct modules, like the Crew Dragon and the Apollo command module. They have a trunk in the back that burns up with all the avionics and fuel and stuff like that on it. The cramped cosmonauts and an astronaut are in the middle, surrounded by all kinds of cargo. And then they have a living room. That's what the bulbous section is. It's a little extra room for science. And I thought that was always smart. This is a 40-some-year-old spacecraft, all right? And there's a beautiful shot of it. This is an old picture, maybe 10 or more years old, but just what a beautiful shot of the components of the Soyuz spacecraft, first launched, I believe, in 1981, somewhere around there. Share that with you. Let's talk a little bit about Crew 9 going up. Heartbreak City when it comes to Crew 9. All right. It was going to be Xena Cardman and Stephanie Wilson, a rookie. Xena Cardman, the commander, and Stephanie Wilson making her 4th trip to space after 3 shuttle missions. But no, Nick Hague's going to be the commander, and because of a contract with Roscosmos, Alexander Gorbanov has to go up as the Russian. So there'll be 2 go up to save 2 seats for Sonny and Butch to come back in February. Now, this is a beautiful patch, isn't it, Marty? That'd make a good T-shirt, except they got to erase 2 of the names there, Cardman and Wilson. But the dragon theme and the constellation you see there is Draco the Dragon, which winds around the Big and Little Dipper in the Northern Hemisphere. So, and there is Stephanie Wilson on the left, and that's the, and on the right, of course, Xena. What heartbreak they must have. They've been training for this for a while. Stephanie's been waiting 10 years to go to space. I think STS-130 was her last mission, the next to the last flight of Endeavour. And I don't know what's going to happen to them, and maybe they don't either. Nick Hague, this will be his 3rd space flight. He survived a Soyuz spacecraft abort to orbit that got up to almost 70 miles and had to do an emergency landing because it bumped into the 2nd stage, and that was an automatic thing there. So, all right, let's jump into, there's Nick Hague and the Russian there, Alexander, in the SpaceX. All right, shuttles of September, talked about that. We're going to talk about that now and highlight 2 missions here for you. 11 beautiful shuttles, including the first, there's 65 crew members, 5 of them women, including the first African-American woman to go to space on STS-47. That's the oval right in the middle, Mae Jemison. That took up the part of the Kibo module. 4 repeats, Marty. Waltz, Reedy, Wilcutt. Terry Wilcutt was a commander and pilot on 106 and 79. We love Terry. He's really a good speaker out there. And Mark Lee, twice in September, Marty. We've talked to Mark Lee out there a bunch. There is the astronaut encounter at Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex. One mission to deploy the TDRA satellite, 3 hard hat missions, 2 IS payloads taken up, 5 science payloads. And the oddities are from September 12th to 18th, there are 8 shuttles in orbit. That's an amazing stat. 42 astronauts can say they were in orbit from September 12th to 18th. And Waltz, Wilcott, Reedy, and Lee all were in space twice that week in space. You go to space, and twice you can say it was the same week. I guess you already, I would go to Tahiti or a big vacation that week every year. Go ahead, Marty. What's up on that UCX family microphone?
Steve Yoakum is saying Soyuz first flight of the Soviet space program launched into orbit on 23 April 1967, carrying cosmonaut Colonel Vladimir Komarov.
Komarov. That's right, Steve. Thank you. I was way off on that. I knew it was during I was not thinking there. Of course, the Soyuz was the spacecraft they were going to take to the moon, call it Zond, and Komarov bravely was on the maiden flight. He was on that crazy Voskhod 1 where 3 of them were crammed into the space, a Soyuz, not Soyuz, a Vostok spacecraft, called it Voskhod. Thanks for straightening me out there, my friend. I was only like 15 years off, but and Tom Celentano said he was at the press site for 106. Very impressive, he said. We're going to talk about those missions here with some artwork from our friends. But you got the return to flight, STS-126, right after the Challenger disaster. And then the first Mir docking, shaking hands, 79, 2 Mir space flights in there. We'll be highlighting them all. Let's talk about STS-69. Of course, they're going to play on the 269 theme of the 2 Arabic letters intertwining on themselves. And I'm going to refer to my book here, Mission Patches, that many of you get signed by astronauts. STX-69 crew patch symbolizes the multifaceted nature of this mission. The primary payload, the wake shield facility, is represented in the center of the patch by the astronaut emblem against a flat disk. Didn't know that. The astronaut emblem also signifies the importance of humans in space exploration, reflected by the planned spacewalk supporting International Space Station assembly. The 2 stylized space shuttles highlight the ascent and entry phases of the mission, and along with the 2 spiral plumes symbolizing a NASA first, the deployment and recovery of the same mission of 2 spacecraft, the Wake Shield and the Spartan. They let them out, flew around a while, then went back and got them. The constellations, Canis Major and Canis Minor, the big dog and little dog, represent the astronomy objectives of the Spartan and International Extreme Ultraviolet Hitchhiker payload, and symbolizes the talents and dedication of the support personnel who make space shuttle missions possible. Artist Mark Pistana designed the patch. So, again, David Walker's the commander, Keith Cockrell the pilot, Jim Voss, Jim Newman, spacewalker, and Michael Gernhardt were the mission specialists there. And here's a couple pictures of them. There they are. The pilot on the left is Cockrell, on the right's Walker, and in the middle is Jim our good friend Jim Newman, Marty. Yeah, but he didn't do a spacewalk on that. You've got Gernhardt and Voss. Jerry Voss is on the right, and Gernhardt's on the left. This was called the Dog Crew. Dog Crew 2. There's even a patch for them, okay? Red Dog, Cujo, Dogface, Pluto, and Underdog was the rookie on the flight, which I think was Newman. there they are eating out of dog dishes, okay, with their names. Pluto was Newman over there on the right. So a lot of fun that astronauts have to take the stress away. They tell me they never ate the cake, right, Marty? We've heard that they just put the cake away, and maybe they ate it after the mission. I don't know. So very cool mission. Next up, shuttles of the month of September 106, which is the first shuttle mission to the International Space Station since the arrival of its newest component, the Russian supplied service module Zvezda, which is Russian for star. Zvezda, Zarya, and Unity were the first cargo segments built there, and they're represented there on the bottom. And they are in not, I mean, they might be in sad shape, folks. I have an inside ear to safety council for the ISS, and they got some leaks on them, but they're not too concerned about a little leak here and there, believe it or not, in the joints particularly. The astronaut office symbol with a star with 3 rays of light provides a connection between the space shuttle Atlantis and the ISS, much the same as the space shuttle program is linked to the ISS during its construction and future research operations. Stylized versions of the flags from Russia and the US meet at the ISS. They symbolize both the cooperation and joint efforts of the two countries during the deployment and development of the permanent outpost in space, as well as the close relationship of American and Russian crew members. Now, this was in the year 2000, launched on September 8th, 24 years ago. We're coming up on. And gee, you know, we just can't underestimate how people, human beings, earthlings, get along in outer space when they don't get along on Earth. Hey, Cliff Watson, he just got a brekkie to you, brother. And Tom Celentano was the first flight of Burbank Maastrichio. How'd I say that good, huh? Maastrichio, both Connecticut natives. All right, Tom, and he's a proud Connecticut native also. And hello to Gary Gerald there in the farmland, beautiful farmland of Georgia there, Gary. Terry Wilcutt, here's the astronauts in space. Terry Wilcutt in the middle. That's a good one to get him to sign. And then we see Scott Altman on the right, the pilot, quite a bit. This was Terry's 4th and final flight. I can't say just what a great guy he is, right, Marty? Willing to talk to you. In fact, he will set the pen down at an autograph session and look up at you and talk, and then resume autographing things, right, Marty? Just a warm individual, as is Scooter there on the right. This is his 2nd flight, and his next 2, he piloted the upgrades to 2 Hubble missions on there. So you got Ed Lieu there in the middle above Terry. Daniel Burbank, Richard Mastracchio there. Where's Richard? Yeah, he's up in the top. And you got 2 Russians there. So quite a flight, 12-day mission. What did it look like, you say? What did the International Space Station look like 24 years ago? No, I thought that was the next one. There's the guys looking cool. There's what it looked like. All right, and the space shuttle Atlantis docked at the upper part of it up there. That's the the Harmony module. Unity, I'm sorry, Unity module. I'll get it right. That's there. Marty's got a list there for me. Thank you, buddy. Doug Forrest, great to you. John the Beagle Dad's watching. We appreciate that. I mentioned everybody but Mitch on Manned Space. Mitch will be here Tuesday to talk about the NASA Manned Space Facebook page of his and all things that he does space, just like us here at the American Space Museum. He loves promoting it. But got to look at the guys playing Superman with their shades on. All right. They all wear the same shirt. They might have a gag hat or sunglasses here that they do, from that picture to that picture, trying to duplicate it. Very good. Must be a self-timer, Marty. Or maybe there was somebody on the space station that we didn't count on there. there's what the space station looked like 24 years ago, and what a cool shot of looking down the Destiny module there. Uh, uh, I mean, Unity module. I keep saying Destiny. Unity module at the docking port there on Atlantis. That looks so beautiful. What a perspective, Marty. We can't see that at the where it's at the Atlantis building. But we look up at it, and I look at that commander seat, and I think of our buddy Mike Baker and Terry looking out those windows. Because this is what we look like today, folks, in 2024. And we're not going to add anything more to it. I hope that they can take off and salvage some of the segments there, private company maybe, and keep it going. There's definitely some of those segments that are wore out. They've got some new upgraded solar panels there and chugging on along, hopefully for at least another 7 or 8 years into the early 2030s. So David Hanscom's on there, and he put some shades on, and just joining is my daughter Jessica. Hello, Jessica. And my granddaughters McKinley and Macy. Grandpa says hi, and he loves you, and glad that you all are staying a little bit curious, and hope you all getting off to start a good weekend there. My daughter and grandkids are up in Bristol, Tennessee, the home of the fastest short track on the planet, Bristol Motor Speedway, and the birthplace of bluegrass and country music, by the way. So if you've ever been to Bristol, just on the other side of the Blue Ridge Mountains from Asheville, tucked in there with Johnson City and Kingsport, called the Tri-Cities. So, and David Hanscom, thank you for joining us, saying hello. He saw those shades, and he put the little emoji with the shades on there. So, well, thank you all for watching. I'm going to go over Friday. We'll find out if exactly what's going on with Polaris Dawn, pushing it back another couple of days at least, and talk about our important auction of space memorabilia. Here's another tease for it right there. Saturday at noon, go to our website or Facebook page, click the links. You will see 360 items, over 200. There's only about 100 items that aren't space items, and those are some Americana artwork and some really cool jewelry on there. Chuck Jeffries did a great job putting together a lot of lithographs. If you're collecting crew signed lithographs, are on there a lot. So we'll recap all of that tomorrow on our Friday Stay Curious. Until then, I'm Mark Marquette saying thank you for watching, thank you for supporting the American Space Museum, and thank you for staying curious. I can't wait to see you in our museum to bridge the space between us. Thank you.